Welcome back to the deep dive. We're diving into AI today with this really fascinating new tool. It's called Perplexity. Sonar, Le Podcast de Philippe. We'll be exploring this as part of a no-code project. We'll be talking about what makes Sonar different from AI giants like Google and OpenAI and discover how it's being used in surprising ways. And we'll explore if this is the future of real-time information access.
It really is an interesting time. For this kind of technology, we've seen an explosion of AI chatbots like ChatGPT, but Perplexity is carving out a niche by focusing on real-time research capabilities.
For those of us who haven't been glued to the latest AI developments, what exactly is Perplexity AI? What makes it stand out?
Perplexity launched in July 2022, and their big differentiator is they focus on pulling information directly from the web in real time. Like imagine you're asking a question. Instead of getting an answer based on a static data set from who knows when, the AI scours the internet for the most up-to-date information, just like you would if you were doing the research yourself.
That's a huge difference. It's like having a research assistant that's constantly connected to the pulse of the internet.
Exactly, and that's where Sonar comes in.
Okay, so what exactly is Sonar? Break it down for us non-tech folks.
Well, Sonar is an API, which stands for Application Programming Interface. Think of it like a universal translator that allows different software programs to communicate with each other. So Perplexity created Sonar to let other companies, like Zoom, for example, integrate this powerful real-time search capability directly into their platforms.
That makes sense. So it's not just a standalone tool. It's something that can be embedded into other applications to make them smarter.
Precisely. And they offer two versions of Sonar. Basic and Pro Basic is your workhorse. For everyday searches, it's fast and it's pretty affordable. But Pro is where things get really interesting. It can handle much more complex questions, running multiple searches simultaneously, and giving you twice as many sources.
So it's like having a team of research assistants working for you, combing through the internet. For the most relevant information, I read that Sonar is being used with Zoom in some pretty innovative ways.
It is, and that's just the beginning. Imagine you're in a Zoom meeting and someone mentions a statistic or a recent news article. Instead of everyone scrambling to Google it, you have this AI assistant right there, pulling up the latest information with links to the sources, all in real time. It could revolutionize how we collaborate and make decisions.
Now, you mentioned that there are two versions, Basic and Pro. Is there a big difference in price?
Perplexity is definitely going for volume with their pricing. For Basic, it's only $5 for every 1,000 searches, which is pretty amazing. Pro is a bit pricier, at $15 per 1,000 searches. But keep in mind both versions also have a small additional cost per word or token used. But when you compare that to the cost of hiring a human research assistant, it's still a pretty incredible deal.
Especially when you consider the speed and efficiency that Sonar offers. But it's not just about cost, right? Perplexity claims that Sonar Pro is actually outperforming some of the biggest names in AI, including Google and OpenAI, when it comes to accuracy.
They do. And they're basing that claim on benchmarks from SimpleQA, a platform specifically designed to evaluate AI chatbot responses. It's important to note that these rankings can fluctuate as models are constantly being updated. But for the moment, at least according to SimpleQA, Sonar Pro is at the top of the list.
That's some serious competition they're up against. It's amazing that a smaller company like Perplexity is holding its own. But how does this real-time search actually translate into benefits for the average user?
Well, think about it this way. Let's say you're writing a research paper or even just trying to get a handle on a complex news story. With Sonar, you can essentially have the latest information from across the web at your fingertips, instantly synthesized and summarized. It could dramatically speed up research and make it much more efficient.
It's like having a personalized, always-on research librarian. And it's not just for academic research, right? How else could Sonar be used in a practical, everyday setting?
The possibilities are pretty exciting. Imagine you're a journalist working on a tight deadline, or a business professional trying to make a critical decision. Having access to real-time information could give you a huge advantage. You could be the first to break a story, or you could make a more informed decision based on the most up-to-date data.
That makes sense. It almost feels like we're on the verge of a paradigm shift in how we access and process information. But let's go back to that Zoom integration for a minute. That seems to be one of the most talked about applications of Sonar.
It definitely has the potential to change the way we meet and collaborate. Imagine a world where meeting notes are automatically generated, key insights are flagged, and action items are organized, all thanks to Sonar working in the background. It could free us from the drudgery of manual note-taking and allow us to focus more on the actual discussion.
And I read this Sonar could even be used to provide real-time translations during meetings. That could be a game changer for international businesses and global teams.
Absolutely. If we connect that to the bigger picture, we're talking about removing language barriers and making collaboration truly seamless, no matter where you are in the world.
It's amazing to think about how quickly this technology is evolving.
Yeah.
But are there any other platforms using real-time web search in a similar way?
It's still pretty cutting edge, which is what makes Sonar so intriguing. OpenAI's ChatGPT has internet access, but its operator tool is more focused on automating tasks within a web browser. Then you have Claude AI, which uses its citations feature to focus on information sourcing.
So they're all taking slightly different approaches to AI, but none of them seem to offer the same real-time search capability that Sonar does.
The only real comparison in terms of leveraging Google Search for real-time research are the Gemini 1.5 Pro and Gemini 2.0 Flash APIs, which have search grounding functionality. It really does seem like Perplexity is carving out a unique space for themselves with Sonar.
But with any new technology, there are always questions about potential downsides. What are some of the things we should be thinking about as real-time AI search becomes more prevalent?
One of the biggest concerns, of course, is the potential for bias and misinformation. We have to remember that these AI systems are trained on data from the real world, which means they can reflect and even amplify existing biases.
So just because an AI tells us something doesn't mean it's necessarily true or accurate. We still need to be critical thinkers and evaluate the information we're getting no matter the source.
Exactly. We can't just blindly trust the output of any AI. And that's why it's so important to be aware of these potential biases and to develop the skills to critically assess the information we're presented with. It's a partnership. AI can augment our abilities, but ultimately, we're the ones steering the ship.
It's like any tool, right? A hammer can be used to build a house, or it can be misused. It's up to us to use these powerful AI tools responsibly and ethically.
That's a great analogy. And as these real-time search capabilities become more widespread, it's a conversation we need to be having as a society. How do we harness the power of AI while mitigating the risks?
So is Perplexity Sonar the future of how we access and process information?
It's certainly a strong contender. And whether or not Sonar becomes the dominant player, it's clear that real-time AI search is going to have a profound impact on how we live, work, and learn in the years to come.
It's both exciting and a little bit daunting to think about all the possibilities and potential pitfalls, but that's what makes this such a fascinating topic to explore.
It truly is a pivotal moment in our technological evolution, and it's up to all of us to shape how these advancements are used and to ensure they serve humanity's best interests.
Well, you've certainly given us a lot to think about today. If you want to learn more about this fascinating new tool from Perplexity, be sure to check out the deep dive on the Podcast de Philippe on YouTube. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more in-depth explorations of the latest in tech. Thanks for joining us on the deep dive.